we're going to be making some basic bread. I have your traditional bread pan here. I also have what are called English muffin rings. Now, I love to use these because it is so easy to make these, stick them in your freezer in a Ziploc bag, and then when you want to make a sandwich, you can pull them out and just heat them for about 20 seconds in your microwave, cut them open, and make your sandwich out of these. It is a lot easier than making your traditional loaf. If you do decide to make your traditional loaf, make sure that you cut your bread before you stick it in the freezer, or else it's going to crumble when you try and cut it after. I also, if you don't want to buy English muffin rings, which you can get at any kitchen store, you can also use rings that you use for canning, okay? And these are the bigger size ones. You can use the smaller ones if you have kids. They make the perfect size of bread for a sandwich for a child. I also have tin foil that you could shape to make it look like a hot dog bun, and you can make those at any size that you want to. And it's just traditional foil, which you would tear in half, and it doesn't matter if it's even or not. Fold up, and you can also make these English muffin rings out of tin foil. I did that for years and then decided it was worth buying these. And I've had these rings for about 6 years now. So they last a long time. And it's only about $4 to buy 6 of them. So it's worth it if you can get to the kitchen store and buy them. Okay, so what you're going to do is just fold your tin foil the long way, like that. Fold it in half. You can shape it like the English muffin rings, or you can shape it long like a hot dog. So any shape that you want to do. And sometimes when it's Valentine's Day, I'll shape them into heart shapes and make heart-shaped buns when we're doing hamburgers for my kids. It's just kind of fun. Okay, now when you're doing your bread, I like my bread a little bit sweeter, so I always add some brown sugar and some honey into it, just like in the basic dinner roll recipe. Okay, so we're just going to add that in right now. And we're going to mix it up. I put the lids over here. All right. Okay, this is all mixed up. And we're going to take our lid off. Now we're going to use our spam, and we're just going to spray onto our English muffin rings and our bread pan. And I'm going to bake all of these so you can see what they look like once they're baked. Okay. Now, just take your bread dough and spoon it in to your English muffin rings. And there's a little bit of honey that didn't get mixed in. But that is okay. It will still turn out great. You want to kind of spread it evenly. Let's do one in here too, so you can see that. I'm going to put some into here. Now I'm going to leave enough of this basic bread dough because we're going to make some cinnamon rolls as well. Now fill your pan about 2/3 full. Spread it out. See that? I need a little bit more. I'm going to put it in this one too. Okay, now if you want a smooth top finish when you're doing your bread, just get your fingers a little bit wet. Okay, and you can just smooth those down really nicely and it won't stick to your hands as much. Then you won't have any sharp edges poking out of your bread. And it will be a lot easier. And get them wet again. Here we go. Okay, we're going to let those rise for about 20 minutes. Now it's important that you don't let them rise any longer than that. If you proof your bread too much, then your bread is going to get too many air bubbles into it and it's going to fall. You have to remember that there is no gluten in this bread to hold it together as normal bread. So you make sure that it's 20 minutes, that's the perfect rising time, and then bake it at the right temperature. our bread is ready to go into the oven. We're going to bake the English muffin rings and the hot dog buns for 25 minutes, and the larger loaves you need to bake for 35 minutes. They take a little bit longer. I just pulled our bread out of the oven, and as you can see, they browned up nicely. That's one of the complaints I've heard a lot of people complain about, is most gluten-free bread do not brown very well. Now, the thing you want to do is take these out of your pan almost immediately after taking them out of the oven. Otherwise, the moisture, you can see how much moisture is in this pan. It will get your bottom all soggy and your bread will be wet, and nobody likes wet bread. Okay, same with your English muffin rings. It's going to be hot. Just be very careful so you don't burn yourself. And just push them out. You might have to cut around the edges if they're not coming out right away. Okay, if you want to, you can let them cool for 2 to 3 minutes, but I would not leave them in there for any longer than that. You know, and use a butter knife, not a big knife like this, to pull them out. All right, there we go. We're just going to let these cool down. And if you're using the tin foil, it comes off really easily. Let's stick that one in there. Okay, and then let these cool for about 10-15 minutes, and then you can cut them. Stick them in your freezer. These you don't have to cut before you freeze. Just stick them in your Ziploc bag and pull them out when you want to eat them.